Hello, and welcome to Great Sleep. Get ready to listen and relax. Today I'm going to tell you a story about a cozy magic night before Christmas in wintry London. The alarm clock buzzed, jolting Charles Thompson awake from his peaceful slumber. He rubbed his eyes and stretched, feeling the warmth of his cozy bed reluctantly slipping away. As he sat up, he noticed a soft glow seeping through the curtains, casting a warm hue on the room. Charles's heart skipped a beat as he realized what it meant. Snow. He quickly threw on his robe and rushed to the window, pulling back the heavy drapes. His breath caught in his throat as he beheld the breathtaking sight before him. The city of London was transformed into a winter wonderland overnight. A blanket of pristine white covered the streets, rooftops, and trees, giving everything a magical aura. Gazing out at the twinkling lights and holiday decorations adorning the streets, Charles couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement coursing through his veins. It was Christmas Eve, and the city had donned its finest attire to celebrate the most wonderful time of the year. The air was crisp and filled with a sense of anticipation, as if the entire world held its breath, waiting for the joyous festivities to begin. Charles smiled to himself, knowing that this was going to be a day to remember. He had always loved Christmas, with its traditions, merriment, and the spirit of giving. But this year felt different. This year, he had something special planned that would bring even more joy to his beloved city. With a skip in his step and a twinkle in his eye, Charles opened the doors of Thompson's Tales, his quaint bookstore nestled in the heart of London. The familiar scent of old books greeted him as he stepped inside, filling him with a sense of comfort and nostalgia. The shelves were lined with literary treasures, waiting to be discovered by eager readers. As the first customer of the day entered, Charles greeted them with a warm smile. "Good morning. How may I assist you today?" he asked, his voice filled with genuine enthusiasm. The customer, a middle-aged woman with a kind face, returned the smile and explained that she was looking for a heartwarming Christmas story to read to her grandchildren. Charles's eyes lit up, and he led her to a cozy corner of the store, where he had curated a collection of holiday-themed books. As they perused the titles together, Charles passionately talked about his love for Christmas and how he enjoyed spreading the holiday cheer through his bookstore. He recommended classic tales like A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens and The Polar Express by Chris Van Allsburg, promising that they would transport her grandchildren to a world of magic and wonder. Throughout the day, Charles engaged in conversations with his regular customers, discussing their favorite holiday books and sharing stories of cherished memories. He listened attentively as they spoke, making mental notes of their preferences and interests. To him, the bookstore was not just a place to sell books. It was a haven where stories came alive and connections were forged. As the day drew to a close, Charles bid farewell to the last customer and locked up the bookstore. He made his way through the snow-covered streets, his footsteps leaving imprints on the untouched canvas beneath him. The cold air nipped at his cheeks, but he barely noticed, lost in his thoughts. He ascended the stairs of an old building and reached his small apartment overlooking a quaint park. Opening the door, he was greeted by the warmth emanating from his cozy abode. The familiar scent of cinnamon and pine filled the air, instantly putting him at ease. Charles set about decorating his apartment with festive ornaments and twinkling lights. He carefully hung a garland on the fireplace mantel and adorned it with delicate glass baubles. The soft glow from the fairy lights cast a warm, inviting ambience, creating a haven of tranquility amidst the bustling city. As he stood back to admire his handiwork, Charles couldn't help but feel a profound sense of gratitude. This simple apartment, with its charming view of the park, had become his sanctuary. It was a place where he could retreat from the chaos of the world and find solace in the pages of a beloved book. The view from his window, with its snow-covered trees and flickering lampposts, brought him joy every day, reminding him of the beauty that surrounded him. The following evening, Charles met up with his friends and neighbors at a cozy cafe nestled in a quiet corner of the city. The cafe, with its warm lighting and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee, was the perfect setting for their gathering. As Charles settled into a comfortable armchair, he couldn't help but smile at the familiar faces around him. The conversation flowed effortlessly as they exchanged stories about their own holiday traditions and hopes for the season. Mrs. Jenkins, an elderly woman with twinkling eyes and a mischievous grin, shared tales of her childhood Christmases spent baking gingerbread cookies with her grandmother. Mr. Evans, a jovial man with a hearty laugh, regaled them with stories of his annual Christmas light displays that attracted visitors from far and wide. Charles felt a sense of belonging and warmth as he listened to their stories. He realized that these shared experiences created bonds that transcended time and distance. In this moment, surrounded by friends who shared his love for Christmas, he understood the power of community during this magical time of year. The next day, as Charles opened his bookstore, he couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. He wondered who he would meet and what stories they would share. As if in answer to his thoughts, the doorbell jingled, and a young girl with rosy cheeks and a twinkle in her eyes stepped inside. "Hello," Charles greeted her warmly. "How can I assist you today?" The girl looked up at him, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I'm looking for the perfect Christmas story," she said, her voice filled with wonder. Charles crouched down to her level, a smile playing on his lips. "Well, my dear, you've come to the right place. Tell me, what kind of story are you looking for?" The girl hesitated for a moment, deep in thought. "I want a story that will transport me to a world of magic and adventure," she finally replied. Charles's eyes twinkled as he pondered her request. After a moment, he stood up and walked over to a shelf filled with beautifully illustrated books. He carefully selected one and handed it to her. "This book," he said, his voice filled with excitement, "is called The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen. It's a tale of friendship, bravery, and the power of love. I believe it will capture your imagination and take you on a grand adventure." The girl's eyes widened with delight as she clutched the book to her chest. "Thank you," she exclaimed, her voice filled with gratitude. Charles watched as she left the store, a spring in her step and a newfound excitement in her eyes. Through this simple interaction, he had not only helped her find a book, but had also sparked something within her, a love for stories and the magic they held. As the days passed, Charles found himself developing relationships with his customers that went beyond their love for books. He learned about their families, dreams, and aspirations, fostering a sense of connection and understanding. Mrs. Jenkins, the elderly woman who had shared her childhood memories, became a regular visitor to the store. She would spend hours browsing the shelves, her fingers tracing the spines of the books as if seeking solace in their stories. Charles would often join her, engaging in conversations that spanned generations. He listened intently as she spoke of her grandchildren and the joy they brought to her life. In return, he shared stories of his own childhood and the magic he had discovered within the pages of a book. Mr. Evans, the man known for his elaborate Christmas light displays, became a dear friend to Charles. They would meet at the cafe, sipping hot chocolate and discussing their latest literary discoveries. Charles marveled at Mr. Evans's creativity and dedication to spreading holiday cheer. In turn, Mr. Evans admired Charles's ability to capture the essence of Christmas through his bookstore, creating a haven for those seeking solace and joy. As Charles delved deeper into the lives of his customers, he realized that his bookstore had become more than just a place to buy books. It was a gathering spot for sharing stories and building relationships. The connections he formed with his customers filled him with a profound sense of purpose and fulfillment. As Christmas approached, the city grew livelier with each passing day. The streets were adorned with twinkling lights, and shop windows displayed festive decorations that drew crowds of eager shoppers. Charles could feel the excitement building in the air, a tangible energy that electrified the city. Each morning, as he opened his bookstore, Charles marveled at the transformation that had taken place overnight. The streets were abuzz with people rushing to finish their last-minute Christmas shopping. Laughter and chatter filled the air, blending with the sound of carols drifting from nearby shops. Charles himself was caught up in the infectious spirit of the season. He reveled in the joy and anticipation that radiated from his customers as they perused the shelves, searching for the perfect gift or a book that would transport them to another world. The bookstore hummed with excitement, and Charles couldn't help but be swept up in the enchantment of it all. One frosty morning, as Charles arrived at his bookstore, he noticed a small package sitting on the doorstep. It was wrapped in brown paper and tied with a crimson ribbon. Curiosity piqued, he picked it up and examined it closely. A note was attached, written in elegant handwriting. To Charles, the purveyor of stories and the bringer of joy. Open on Christmas morning. A smile tugged at Charles's lips as he turned the package over in his hands. Who could have left this mysterious gift for him? And what could possibly be inside? The anticipation grew with each passing moment, adding an extra layer of excitement to the already magical season. Charles carefully placed the package on a shelf behind the counter, resisting the urge to tear it open right then and there. He knew that whatever surprise awaited him, it would be worth the wait. With renewed energy, he set about attending to his customers, their conversations punctuated by his occasional glances at the enigmatic package. Amidst the hustle and bustle of the holiday season, Charles found solace in moments of tranquility. He would take walks in the snow-covered park near his apartment, relishing the stillness that enveloped him. The crunch of snow beneath his boots and the soft flutter of snowflakes falling from the sky created a symphony of serenity. As he wandered through the park, Charles would pause to admire the beauty that surrounded him. The trees, their branches laden with snow, stood tall and majestic against the gray winter sky. The lampposts lining the paths cast a warm glow, illuminating the park with a soft, ethereal light. It was in these moments that Charles felt a deep connection to the world around him, a sense of peace that transcended the chaos of the city. These moments of tranquility allowed Charles to reflect on the true meaning of Christmas. It wasn't just about the presents or the decorations. It was about finding joy in the simplest of things. It was about cherishing the moments spent with loved ones, creating memories that would last a lifetime. And as Charles stood in that snow-covered park, he couldn't help but feel grateful for the beauty that surrounded him and the joy that Christmas brought to his life. Inspired by the spirit of Christmas, Charles decided to organize a charity book drive in his bookstore. He believed that books had the power to transport people to new worlds, ignite their imaginations, and provide solace during difficult times. He wanted to share this power with those who needed it most. He put up posters around the store and spread the word among his customers. The response was overwhelming. People from all walks of life came forward, eager to donate books to those in need. The shelves overflowed with literary treasures, waiting to be shared with others. Charles was touched by the generosity of his community. He saw firsthand how books could bridge gaps and bring people together. The act of giving became a celebration of the human spirit, reminding him of the true essence of Christmas. Christmas morning arrived, and Charles woke up with a sense of anticipation that bubbled within him. He made his way to the bookstore, the streets still quiet and serene. As he unlocked the door and stepped inside, he couldn't help but glance at the package that had been waiting for him since the day it arrived. With trembling hands, Charles reached for the package and carefully untied the crimson ribbon. The brown paper fell away, revealing a small box. He lifted the lid, his heart pounding in his chest. Inside, nestled in a bed of velvet, was a letter. Charles's eyes welled up with tears as he read the heartfelt words written by one of his customers. The letter expressed gratitude for the joy his bookstore had brought to their life, for the stories that had transported them to faraway lands, and for the connections they had made within its walls. Charles was overwhelmed with emotion. He realized that his bookstore had become more than just a place to buy books. It had become a sanctuary, a place where dreams were born and friendships were forged. The letter was a testament to the impact he had made on the lives of others, and it filled him with a deep sense of fulfillment. As the story came to a close, Charles found himself reflecting on the joy he had brought to others through his bookstore. He understood the importance of preserving traditions and the power of community in creating lasting memories. He vowed to continue spreading the magic of Christmas through his love for books and the connections he had made. He would create new traditions, host storytelling events, and foster an environment where people could come together and share their love for literature. Charles knew that his journey didn't end with this Christmas season. It was just the beginning of a lifelong pursuit of spreading joy, one story at a time. And as he closed the doors of Thompson's Tales on that snowy Christmas evening, he couldn't help but feel a profound sense of gratitude for the gift of storytelling and the power it held to transform lives.